Hi, Chris. So lovely to meet you. Congratulations on the absolutely beautiful film. So yes, when you first got your hands on this novel, what really spoke to you about it, and how did you even begin to adapt it for the screen?
There were a lot of things about it, not the least of which is it's a robot movie. I've always wanted to work on one of those. But at the core of it is the story about a robot who is a mom and like this sort of accidental mother. And you never get to do that in animation. It's very rare to have moms in an animated movie. It's just a thing. There's a reason for that, as it turns out. But that meant that any movie about a robot is probably going to be a story where a robot is growing, more dimensional, more emotional. But in this particular case, when she is suddenly a mom to this little gosling, and a gosling that really wasn't supposed to survive in the first place, which makes it even more difficult for her to accomplish this goal. Emotionally, we're going into the deep end, which is really unique.
What an incredible voice cast you've assembled, from Pedro Pascal, Bill Nye, et cetera, et cetera. But Lupita at the center, particularly, is probably not an easy task to take on to voice a robot, and her approach also of how her voice changes throughout the film. So maybe you can talk about working with her particularly.
Absolutely. So this is something that Lupita really did create. And for me, it was fascinating to watch her process as she was taking this character apart to really understand the utility of Roz. And in this particular case, a very unusual character that has a particular architecture to the way that she thinks. And for me, that was an amazing thing to watch Lupita create that and to decipher that. So there's an immense amount of invention that Lupita poured into this particular character. I never left a recording session without a lot of notes and making adjustments to the trajectory of Roz, the character, and even to moment dialogue. Yeah, full credit to, and as you pointed out, she created a particular sound for Roz's voice that shifts and evolves through the movie, and that is all her. I first encountered the book when I dropped into DreamWorks and just was asking what they had in development. And amongst the properties, they literally laid out on the table in front of me was this book, The Wild Robot. And just with the briefest description of it, I thought, that's the one I'm interested in. So I immediately took it home, read it, and it was a fast read. I called back probably the very next day and said, okay, I'm desperate to be finished this amazing story. I think that it has all the elements of that. I think we worked very hard to make something that's like not too, I guess, timeless. Not too timeless. That is timeless, not too like topical, if that makes sense. And that's the thing about the story that's really wonderful. The themes in it are eternal. They're things that we all share, and they cross all boundaries. So the emotional content and the storyline, I think, is got all those elements that will make it into it.